Hey, I'm Julie. So glad you're here. In this video, I am going to show you the exact method that I use to help executive directors of $1 million nonprofits scale their revenue and raise six figures in unrestricted gifts in 6 months without chasing grants and without doing another gala. This is the same system that clients like Will, who is an executive director and founder of an animal welfare organization in New York, came to me in scarcity mode, has since raised multiple six figures and $800,000 in just a few months when we started working together. Crazy. Like Catherine, who's an executive director and was 6 months into the role when we started working together. She went from really overthinking asking for $2,500 gifts to closing her first $250,000 gift. After implementing my system, she increased overall giving from individuals by 151%. Or Georgia, who was head of fundraising at a global organization and was hesitant to ask for six-figure gifts. After implementing my system, she asked for a $1.5 million gift and she raised an $810,000 gift, unrestricted, completely life-changing. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how it works. But first, we need to have a little talk. So if you're anything like the executive directors that I work with all year long, I know you didn't take this job because you absolutely love fundraising. I'm one of those weirdos who really does love it, but I know that that's rare. You got into this work because you believe that you can make a real difference. You believe in the mission. Maybe you want to build a state-of-the-art, gorgeous children's museum for families and kids to really thrive and to become the heart of your community. Maybe you're building a best-in-class youth mental health program and you want to scale it nationwide. You don't just want to be in a few school districts. Maybe you're trying to disrupt the food industry. Maybe you want to bring accessible, healthy food to low-income families, regardless of zip code, all over the country. Maybe you want to end food deserts. Maybe you want to build a world-class sports facility for youth in high-crime areas, and you want to bring access to world-class training and team sports. You got into this work because your why is massive, because you saw the potential to change your community for generations. And you know what? In many ways, you have created a lot of change. A lot of nonprofits, in fact, most of them do not get to the growth level that you are at now. Most organizations do not even make it to $1 million annual revenue. And getting here is really hard. And this phase of growth is really hard. The thing is, there's a strange thing that happens at this phase of growth. It's like you've climbed this really big mountain and you get to the top and you realize that it's actually a large hill and that ahead of you, you see a massive mountain range that you need to scale. More importantly, that your community needs you to scale, and you don't have the tools, you don't have the roadmap, because you know how to climb really large hills. And to be fair, the air is rare where you are. Not a lot of people have made it to this point. And also, what's ahead of you is much larger and much bigger than what you just climbed. There's way more individuals, families, youth who you want to help, and you cannot stop here. There's more lives you want to change, and the next phase is to take it from 1 million to 2 million and beyond, right? And that change feels completely different than what you just did. what you did to get here is not going to get you there. It starts to look like this, right? You're running the operations, you're handling all the hiring, you're overseeing the programs, you're managing the board, and you're also leading and handling all of the fundraising. And it feels like at least one of those balls is dropping at all times, right? It's a lot. And you're frustrated because you know that there are people who are all in and absolutely love what you do. They love your program, they love your model, they love you, they trust you to get it done. And they're not giving as much as they could. And it frustrates you. Actually, if you are really honest, it pisses you off. And you don't really know why they're not giving more. Obviously, you need to raise more. They know it. And so it starts to feel like you're dependent a little bit too much on luck, a little bit too much on your own hustle, which that is running its course. You can't possibly hustle more. You're already working as hard as you possibly can. And it starts to feel a bit fragile, like, okay, this whole thing is being held together by my hustle and the occasional miracle large gift that comes through. That's not a strategy. It's not a plan to scale the massive mountain range that's ahead of you, the impact that you are going to create. It's you. You are the leader to get this done for your community. And it shows up in moments like this, like you spend 2 hours crafting maybe too long of an email to a donor. It's like novel length. And you put a lot of effort into it, beautifully done, but it doesn't get read. You go weeks, months without hearing from this donor, and then they just end up telling you, hey, I'm going to do what I did last year. You open up a check in the mail, it's for $5,000. This donor has been giving you $5,000 for the last 7 years. You're grateful. Of course, you're grateful. You don't want to be ungrateful. But you also know that this donor, you sense like they could actually be giving $25,000, $30,000, $50,000 in some cases. You go to your board meeting. You basically say what you've said 1,000 times. Hey guys, please share this with your network. Would really love if you could make some introductions. And you remind them about the annual report. You remind them about this really great video. You remind them about this event coming up, and everybody nods and they tell you how you're doing such a great job. And what you end up having is a group of people who are cheering you on, but they remain unhelpful. They don't actually pick up the phone. They don't actually make meaningful introductions, and they don't help you fundraise. You don't need more cheerleaders, and you know it. You need partners. Meanwhile, the organization in your county, in your city, in your state, who is less effective but doing adjacent work, is actually getting bigger gifts from your donors or donors like them. And you know that those bigger gifts would be better spent with your organization. You're super effective. What you're doing is disruptive. It's different and it's working. You have the proof. You have the data. You know that you are changing lives. And so it's frustrating that there are less effective orgs that are raising those 6-figure gifts every year. They're getting those bigger dollar gifts. And you're like, what's the deal? Is this just political? What's going on here? And the emotional weight of carrying that around, knowing that your board isn't really helping you with fundraising, and that you should be raising more money. Like what you're doing is working and it's really cool and it's changing lives. You're actually legit, like you're doing work that is beautiful and powerful, and you know that it's effective. And you start to feel like some of this success that you've had is luck. And you start to feel like, okay, this luck is going to run out. It doesn't last forever. And the truth is that your community is looking to your leadership in order to scale the massive mountain range that's ahead of you that you need to climb to create the impact that you know you can make. And you don't have the tools, you don't have the gear, you don't have the roadmap to get there. And nobody you know has done it either, really. I know this too well. My first fundraising job, I was fired from. Before I was fired, I raised nearly $1 million on my own. I was a one-person development shop for a community center, and I did everything. I think we had at least 7 different revenue streams. I was doing individual giving, major gifts, corporate giving. We had a gala every year. I did the silent auction. I managed interns. I did grant writing. I wrote LOIs and grants and all of the renewal applications. I did the board fundraising. I mean, I'm probably forgetting like at least three things. I was so ill. Like it actually made me sick how much work I was doing. My hair was falling out. I was losing weight. I was not healthy. I wasn't sleeping well. I was beyond stressed trying to do all of these things to raise $1 million. I got fired and I wondered like, maybe I'm not really cut out for this. Fast forward 12 years later, I had raised over $25 million from individuals. And since then, the last 7 years, I've helped dozens of clients raise nearly $69 million, most of them solo EDs or teams of 2. And here's what I learned. Like there's so much terrible advice, fundraising advice, that doesn't actually suit the stage that you're in right now. For example, number 1, just go get more grants. You do not need more restricted funding. I cannot tell you how painful it is when you raise restricted funding and you have a pile of cash in one account that you cannot touch to help pay for operations, and some disaster, act of God, emergency, massive change that you cannot anticipate or have control over doesn't allow you to use that restricted funding. You do not need more money that you have to reimburse the government for, or that's going to tie your hands behind your back while you need to respond to your community and what your organization needs to do. You need flexible funding, period. Getting another grant ain't it. Then there's just do a gala. This is for people who don't actually fundraise. They don't really know how to fundraise. Major gifts is the highest return on investment type of fundraising that you can do. Galas, probably the lowest return on investment. You're lucky if you raise $1.50 for every dollar that you put into a gala. You're lucky if you break even. They are so painful to plan. I've done many of them. I've done it with Michelle Obama and Kerry Washington being the keynotes. I've done all kinds of galas. And I'm telling you that at this phase, it's tempting to do a gala, but it's so low ROI and it's so exhausting for such a small team to try to pull off. Another piece of advice that people often give is, don't ask XYZ donor for more money. You're going to offend them. You're going to piss them off. You're going to scare them away. If you ask for more, like this person is going to leave. This is such terrible advice. If someone has been giving to your organization for years, why would they suddenly leave if you ask them to partner with you more closely? What sense does that make, right? This is just typical keeping you small, keeping you in your lane. It's terrible advice. And there are people who are ready to step up and give more if you asked. The problem isn't that your donors don't care or that your board isn't willing to make introductions. The problem is that there's not a clear system and a simple strategy to raise larger gifts and to bring in new major donors. That's why I created my Courage Lab method. I'm going to walk you through it. So this is the system that executive directors use to raise 6 figures in unrestricted revenue in 6 months without a gala and without chasing grants. There's three parts to it, not one. There's 3 parts to this. So let me walk you through it. So this is the method, and we start out with, this is what you ultimately want, right? 6 figures in 6 months of unrestricted revenue. The first part that we focus on is a sustainable strategy. This looks like identifying your top donors. Who are they? Who are the people who are already the closest to your mission that you need to focus on? And what are the things that you need to let go of? So that priority list becomes super clear. There's no more second guessing and focusing on 7 different revenue streams that are not going to move the needle. It's just too much. Next part is that you actually book more meetings with the right people. You stop chasing the people who are not your donors. They have no intention of giving more or giving again. And then you get your 12-month roadmap so that you have super crystal clear priorities to meet and exceed your fundraising goals. The second part of this is retain and upgrade. So this is usually where the big money is. This is where you can easily raise at least $200,000 that's sitting in your database right now. 9 out of 10 of the executive directors that I work with raise an additional $200K in the first 3 to 4 months that we work together because of this step, retain and upgrade. The first piece of it is working on your messaging so that you are resonating with major donors. Some of you are taking forever to explain what you do, to explain what you've done, and to explain your vision and why you need to raise millions of dollars. I have a formula that teaches you how to do that in 20 seconds. Major donors are successful and they're busy. If you cannot explain this in seconds, then your emails won't get read. And I want your emails to get read. I want people to start giving you 6-figure unrestricted gifts over email. That's going to happen. That happened to my client, Georgia, who got the $810,000 gift that I told you about. This is exactly the methods that they use to raise multi-year 6-figure gifts. The next part of this retain and upgrade strategy is about your pitch and about making asks to those people who are on your priority list. The third part is we focus on you getting new donors every month. Kara did this and got 60 donors in 6 months. That's awesome. We do this primarily through my strategy called events that don't suck. Now, this is donor-hosted gatherings that are 0 cost. Kara did this. She's an executive director of an anti-poverty and food access organization in Indiana. She and her donors executed, planned, hosted, paid for, and got their friends to come to an event, and they raised $273,000 in one night at 0 cost. They got 18 new 3-year commitments from the people in the room. 18 3-year commitments. It's incredible. She implemented my exact system to do that. You start getting new donors in because your board is trained to make introductions and to actually help you with fundraising rather than just being unhelpful cheerleaders on the sidelines. They don't know what to say, they don't know what to do. They need a really simple system, and that's what I teach. When you have these three pieces working together, you know what to focus on and what to not focus on, what to stop doing, which is so important. It's everything. You start booking more meetings with the right people, and you start raising more money a lot faster. You are raising 10 times the size of the gifts you are now. 10 times, yes. I know it sounds crazy. I know it does. I actually mean this 10 times the size. If someone is giving $5K right now, they end up giving $50K. And they do it over email, over phone, on Zoom, in person, doing these zero cost events. And you stop feeling like this is just, you're making it up as you go, right? You don't have to make it up as you go anymore. You have a clear roadmap. If you're still watching this, then Courage Lab is likely right for you. If you're an executive director of $1 million nonprofit and you know that you need to scale what you're doing, and you know that what you're doing is working in your community, and your community needs you to figure this out, you need flexible revenue to get where you're going, then I want you to reach out to me. This is not for everyone. I say no quite a lot, actually, because it's so important who is inside this program. If your organization isn't at $1 million yet, that's okay. You're not there yet. You're not ready. If you are committed to doing restricted funding, then also not a fit for you. I only help people raise unrestricted revenue that supports their operations, that supports their mission. If you're not into that, you're really going to hate this. But if you know that you're leaving money on the table with your current donors, you need to inspire your current donors, your board members, to give their best gifts, and you need to get new donors in the door. You need to fix your messaging so that it resonates and your board can actually help you with fundraising. Then I want you to message me the words major gifts in all caps on LinkedIn. The link is here to find my LinkedIn profile. I personally reply to every message. It's not AI, it's not a bot, it's not my assistant, it's me. Let's talk about your organization. Tell me about your goals, and see if this program is the right fit. Again, it's not for everybody. That's totally fine. But if that's you, your mission needs your leadership to step up and figure this out. You absolutely are the one to create generational change and to scale this impact in your community. You just need the courage and the right system and maybe even the right coach to get you there.